The mainstream narrative just hit a brick wall. That brick wall is called reality. While the news media spent the last 48 hours debating political optics, the tactical reality in the Middle East has shifted permanently. This isn't about rhetoric anymore. It's about a global shipping lane that handles 21 million barrels of oil a day. And right now, the data shows that the strait is open. The Strait of Hormuz is open. The news media has wanted you to believe otherwise, but this is a real-time map, and these are the ships circling, moving, and moving through the Straits of Hormuz right now. Today, I'm bringing the SITREP to light that they tried to bury. They're trying to scare you. President Trump just dropped a truth nuke about the, Iran's military being, quote, 100% destroyed. But if that's the case, and I believe it's starting to look like that, then why is the news media saying that this strait is closed? I'm going to zoom out a little bit here so you can see the amount of traffic that is coming into the Persian Gulf. Do you see all the ships here that are either transiting in or coming out? And then let's just take a little look further into the Persian Gulf. Like I said, there's the Straits of Hormuz. And then we go around into the Persian Gulf here, and you can see all of the shipping traffic that is in and around and headed to either Bahrain, Kuwait, or into Karg Island, which is right here. You see Karg Island here? You see a lot of ships waiting just outside of Karg Island. Not one is currently tied up there. It damn sure doesn't look like it to me. Either one's leaving or one is approaching the port. But this is what the news media doesn't want you to see. They don't want you to see the real-time shipping traffic. They want you to panic. And this answer is artificial. Iran is depleted. The United States military, with the help of Israel, vice versa, is looking pretty successful right now. Macron, the Prime Minister of France, and Japan are in talks right now to move more support ships into the area. This is the Hanson Bridge moment, basically. Look at the coordinates that they're telling you there is no shipping traffic, and I will argue that there is, because that's exactly what I'm seeing here. In another major move of defiance or just outright proof that Iran lies maybe as much as the news media, or in help with the news media, is photos here of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu at a coffee shop today. And I believe he was actually joking about the 5 fingers that he has on one of his hands. Because just yesterday, the Iranian news media came out with a clip. It was AI generated, saying that the prime minister was not alive.
אני מת על קפה, אתה יודע מה? אני מת על העם שלי. איך הם מתנהגים, פנטסטי. אתה רוצה לספור את מספר אצבעות? אתה יכול להראות לנו? פה.
AI always has a lot of problems showing hands. For some reason, it always get the hands wrong. So this is exactly what Netanyahu's doing. He's trolling Iran by showing the 5 fingers, right? It's amazing to see, because we're seeing this across the board with Iran saying that they shot down some F-15s. They sank the aircraft carrier, the Abraham Lincoln. And we all know that this isn't true. But right now, on the cusp of everything that's happening, Israel is planning to move a large-scale mobilization of 450,000 reservists into that area as soon as possible. Probably tonight, I could see that happening. And this is great news for the American military, because the more troops that Israel sends in, the less that we have to. And I firmly believe no American wants to see boots on the ground there. But at the same time, it very well could be a necessity, specifically on Karg Island, which is owned and operated by the Iranians. There are no civilians on the island. Now, this is Special Forces, retired Special Forces commander. I want you to listen to what he says here.
Karg Island just got hit, every military base on the island. What does that mean?
I guess it shows us what Secretary Heggs' plan was that CNN was unable to detect. This was always on the table as an escalation from our side. 40% of the state revenue of Iran comes through Kharg Island's pipelines. Now, we didn't destroy the ability to do that, but we sure showed them that if they continue to do things like impede shipping out of the strait, then we're going to go ahead and take the next step. And we could seize the island. You know, it would not be that hard, and then almost dare them if they want to try and attack it and destroy their own infrastructure to do that. So there's a lot of options for us on the table and fewer for them every day.
I believe that is absolutely true. The island is small. 2,500 Marines are on various ships in the area. And this could very well be a move that Donald Trump wants to make to cripple them economically. Some Americans will never want troops on the ground in Iran for fear of this long forever war that the Bushes, Obamas, the Clintons, and all of them basically propped up for a long time, because these forever wars cost a lot of money. They cost a lot of lives. And frankly, I don't believe the American people voted for that. But with the amount of problems that Iran has caused for this long of amount of time, Trump is probably the only one that really has the guts, or had the guts, to do something about Iran. Iran has never lost a negotiation, and they have never won a war. The rules of combat just changed forever. What we're seeing in Iran isn't just a conflict, it's a brutal preview of the future. The era of traditional boots on the ground is being eclipsed by a digital nightmare. Drones, electronic warfare, and GPS jamming that can blind an entire army in seconds, rendering them helpless. Governments are terrified of being left behind, and they're moving billions of dollars into the only thing that matters now. That's technology that they can survive with after a digital blackout. One company is standing at the center of this shift. The segment is sponsored by Spark AI, ticker symbol SPAI, on the Canadian Securities Exchange, SPAIF. While others build the hardware, Spark AI is building the brain. They specialize in GPS-denied environments. And you see this battlefield here with the swarm of thousands of drones that their equipment has the capability to supervise. You can fly without GPS. Most drones become expensive paperweights with no GPS, no LiDAR, no radar. Spark AI's platform is designed to keep unmanned systems moving and fighting when everything else fails. This isn't just a startup story. This is a strategic expansion. Spark AI just made a massive move by appointing Matt McCran to lead their U.S. push. McCran is the former CEO of Drone Shield. That's a titan that hit $3.5 billion in market value. He knows how to bridge the gap between breakthrough tech and massive government defense contracts. And we know that's where the money is going right now. Their model is different. They are not building heavy machinery. They license a software. It's a low overhead, high impact model designed to be integrated into every defense platform on the market. Their CEO owns roughly 34% of the company. So he's got skin in the game, and he's not here to lose money. He is here to provide technology. Technology is an investment that all of you should get behind at this time. The management is not just watching from the sidelines. They are in the trenches. The battlefield is becoming a digital fortress. If you want to see who's holding the keys to the future of defense and this digital battlefield, Spark AI should be on your watch list today. As always, this is not financial advice. I urge you to do your own research and pat them down the same way that the TSA does to you.
You just heard Iran's foreign minister saying Tehran has been approached by other countries about negotiating their way through the strait. If that kind of negotiation happens, are Americans just going to get cut out here?
Well, first of all, you have to understand that America is not going to have its economy harmed by what the Iranians are doing. The bottom line is that in the 70s, we didn't produce much oil, but now we do. And so America's in a very strong position. They think that they're going to harm the U.S. economy and get President Trump to back down. There couldn't be anything that was a stupider thing to say, because the bottom line is that our economy has got all this momentum in the world, and we've got lots and lots of oil. We have lots of trading partners that are more on the hook from imported oil from these guys. And as we can see, it's completely unacceptable that a government that would, murder 40,000 of their people just a few months ago would be blackmailing countries to let stuff through. President Trump thinks that is unacceptable, and for the global economy, we need to fix it, and we're going to fix it.
He's so right. Why should any of these other countries that are dependent on Iran suddenly not realize that by allowing Iran to close the Straits of Hormuz, they are damaging them? If the straits get closed, Japan, China, Russia, France, the UK, Germany, Russia, all of these countries are going to be affected. We are independent. We don't get any oil from Iran. We just basically negotiated our way into Venezuela by getting rid of Nicolas Maduro. So we're getting a lot of oil from Venezuela. We are opening up new drilling facilities in California off the coast. We have the Gulf of Mexico, the Gulf of America. We have Texas opening up drilling. President Donald Trump rescinded all of the executive orders that Joe Biden put in. Keystone Pipeline, you know what I'm talking about there? So we have an abundance of oil. Will it raise prices some? It very well could. But we're not going to be in the ration lines like we were with Jimmy Carter, where you could get gas on a Tuesday or a Friday. That's not happening. That's not the way the game is played right now. And for the first time in a long time, we have a president that is playing the game to win. He's playing for keeps. CBS News will continue to spin the lies, continue to spin the propaganda, and we're done with this, right? We are finished with playing their games and finished with being scared. This is more footage coming out of Iran overnight. United States Central Command is releasing a lot of footage of these strikes on Iranian military sites. These are some of the actual drone footage, the drone feeds that is happening there. And Iran is on the ropes. There's not a lot left of their facilities. They're not targeting schools. They're not targeting hospitals, albeit Marjorie Taylor Greene and some of these other people are saying that. They are targeting missile launchers. They are targeting ballistic missile threats where they could send in military equipment. That's what they're targeting. Nothing but that. Here's another site being destroyed. We want to stop their capabilities. We are not targeting civilians. I don't know where they come up with this, but that's not the case. We'll get back into a little bit of the propaganda that Iran is using right now, and they're attempting to take credit for downing the U.S. Air Force KC-135 that crashed. It was a mid-air refueling collision or incident that 6 people died in that. Iran is trying to take credit for this. They're getting called out for their lies. They're getting called out for their propaganda. And I'm glad to see that Bill Malugin over at Fox News called them out. The Iranians are so bad at their fake claims. They included a photo of Bo frickin' Bergdahl, the guy that walked off of his station in Afghanistan, I believe, and he was held captive there by the Taliban for years. So Iran is so desperate that they put Bo Bergdahl on a piece of information. Does that make any sense to you? Are you giving any credibility to the Iranian government, or more importantly, our own news media? Well, our own news media is under threat right now because Trump's FCC chairman vows to strip licenses from fake news media that are peddling this Iran war propaganda. And part of them are mainstream news, CNN, Fox, and all these other. I'll show you the post here from Brendan Carr. Broadcasters that are running hoaxes, also known as the fake news, have a chance now to correct course before their license renewals come up. The law is clear. Broadcasters must operate in the public interest and they will lose their licenses if they do not. Frankly, changing the course is in their own business interests, since trust in legacy media has now fallen to an all-time low of 9%. 9% of you believe the mainstream news. Donald Trump came out and responded or posted about this on True Social. Yet again, an intentionally misleading headline by the fake news media account about 5 Taker planes supposedly went down an airport in Saudi Arabia. None of the news media is pushing back at this. None were destroyed or close to that. When you don't have CNN and Fox News calling out the Iranians for putting a picture of Bo Bergdahl up as one of the individuals that died, I mean, this is so easy to see. The post has been taken down, but once it's out there, you freaking morons. Now we've got more information coming out here. Tucker Carlson was crying last night because the CIA is investigating or has been monitoring his text messages. Well, I don't know what you think about this, but Tucker Carlson's a member of the news media. Tucker Carlson is also what I would say a propagandist. He interviewed Putin. He interviewed some Iranian leaders. He's been in the White House. He's been in the Oval Office. So Tucker, if you don't think that someone was reading your text messages when you're about to go sit down with the president, then I'm sorry, you're not really that bright. You're not that smart of a journalist. And you can see it here if you want to go watch this full clip. He's just whining and crying. And I think it's amazing to see because Tucker knows best. And all you have to do is ask him.
Found out that the CIA is preparing some kind of criminal referral against me, a crime report, to the Department of Justice on the basis of a supposed crime I committed. What's that crime? Well, talking to people in Iran before the war. They read my texts. So the crime under consideration apparently would be the Foreign Agent Act or something like that, acting as a...
It's the same thing they got General Mike Flynn for. And never forget, General Mike Flynn was appointed by Obama, and now he's coming out and started counter-messaging President Trump. But if he was coordinating with folks connected to the Iranian regime and then lobbying on their behalf without registering as a foreign agent, FARA, then I am 100% in support of him being investigated. Will anything happen? Probably not. But there's probably a lot of people downloading BleachBit after what they've got on their phones or their iPads or whatever other pieces of equipment they have. But Tucker Carlson knew what he was doing. He's much smarter than this. He should not try to play dumb and gullible. Because we're out of that. We're out of that method. You know exactly what you did, and you did it purposefully.
Agent of a foreign power. And I don't expect this to go anywhere. I'm not too worried about an actual criminal case against me for a bunch of reasons. One, I'm not an agent of a foreign power. Unlike a lot of people commenting on U.S. politics and global affairs, I have only one loyalty, and that's the United States. And
if you only have one loyalty to the United States, why were you paid by Qatar to go and peddle BS? Why were you paid by them? Why did you say you were going to buy a house in Qatar, buy some property in Qatar? Tucker, I think you're full of crap. I think you're lying. And I think you're panicking right now because you've been busted. And you're worried about what is on those texts that were read by the CIA. And I would be very interested in those being made public, because you've had people like Nick Fuentes on, you've had people like Colonel Douglas McGregor, you've had other entities on that are really starting to change. And the political shift, the political dynamic with this counter messaging to the United States military is not healthy for anyone in uniform.
This is a big area of focus right now, as roughly 20% of the world's oil travels through the Strait of Hormuz. And President Donald Trump has posted about this several times over the weekend.
Do you see this? You're seeing ships move. You're seeing shipping traffic back to normal. No matter what Iran is saying, that's what's happening.
Use force to shut it down. Before the war, Iran had stockpiled sea mines that it could lay across the strait, dispersed coastal defense cruise missiles that could be fired at ships from the shore.
You have the Houthi rebels where these diamonds are. You have a choke point of mines. The shipping traffic through there, I believe it's only about 1,500 yards wide. About 1,500 meters. Maybe it's less than a mile wide to get all of that shipping traffic in and out. And sadly, they have controlled this for too long, but the shipping traffic is back and operating. You can see here Kuwait. You can see down here Oman. You can see Bahrain. They are getting the traffic back in, and there's more ships moving in and around the Straits of Hormuz. This is this rock here, and the traffic is back to normal. So I would not panic. The United States military, in conjunction with allies, is going to do everything they can to keep this open. Some of the allies should, in my opinion, carry some weight, and they're not. France, Canada, they've come out and said that they will not. And now France, just like as always before, is backtracking. And they know if they don't, those oil supplies, those oil reserves, if the United States takes control of that, Donald Trump will hold a grudge. And I believe he should. I'd love to get your take on this down below in the comments. Let me know what you think. Do you think we will see boots on the ground on Karg Island in Iran? Is the shipping traffic going to remain open? Is Iran out of moves? Do you think Israel putting boots on the ground with a ground invasion is a good idea? Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. I read them all. Till the next one, I'll see you then.